We re-enter into this series now. Of course, TSM, a 7-0 victory on Bank. Brutal, decisive, whatever you want to call it. It was tough for Parabellum. Now they head to Oregon with hopes of really making a comeback and stepping things up.
Yeah, I mean, 7-0, if there was going to be a 7-0 in the SI quals, did not expect it to be the very first map, and definitely didn't expect it to be in TSM versus Parabellum. But either way, that's in the past. Let's look towards what's in front of us. Ying will be banned by TSM. Definitely makes sense. Something that's been said about Parabellum, especially on Oregon, is they are great at abusing the Ying and the Blitz. Ying, I think, we can all agree, is maybe a little bit more powerful than that Blitz, the better of the two, the more universal of the two. So good ban by TSM. Parabellum, on the other hand, they'll ban Thatcher. I mean, it's Oregon. He's Thatcher. He's banned literally everywhere. Makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if Parabellum follow up with either the Valkyrie or the Mira that has been banned everywhere as well. And they'll, of course, it'll be the Mira. So now it's up to TSM to decide, hey, do we want to, maybe ban Cade, make our lives a little easier because Thatcher's banned? Do we want to go ahead and ban the Valkyrie, ban another operator that Parabellum maybe rely upon? And now it'll just be that Valkyrie. So standard bans across the board. I mean, even that Ying isn't just a target ban to PB. We see that ban pretty often because she's one of the best operators for doing, a fast E-box drop and a pillar take on basement.
Right, it's something that we see, across all levels of Siege, and it's something, I think SSG pioneered that strategy, and it's something that a lot of teams have since adapted. But of course, with the Ying ban, it does mean that some notable operators are still in the mix, right? Every hard breacher still at the disposal of Parabellum, who'll be starting out on the attack, but also Flores, someone who has received a lot of, I would say, he's pretty positive feedback recently because he is so strong that a lot of teams just want to see him banned. Those Rotero drones can circumvent all variety of projectile denial that, your Jaeger, your Aruni, your Wamai can set up, and especially on Oregon, that basement site and that dorm site, which both heavily depend on those deployable shields and those power positions you can set up behind them. Those Rotero drones can just sneak by all of that and take out those shields, of course. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see him in the mix later. Right now from Parabellum, they're going to, push him to the wayside in favor of both the Yana and the Finka, but also, more notably, running with that dual hard breacher setup, the combination of the Habana in Penguin's hands and the Maverick in Kool-Aid's hands.
Yeah, of course, with the Thatcher ban, we're probably going to see Maverick every single round. I would be very surprised if he's not played in any round. And, we were just talking about the influence of Flores not being played. Luckily for Parabellum, though, TSM are only running with one shield, and they've only got the Jaeger to protect it. No Wamai, no Rooney they've got to worry about. So burning should be rather easy, especially because they have 8 nades. I mean, the Penguin is the only person there for burn. I guess you can kind of burn with your Gone 6s if you really want to, but, I mean, there's more than enough leniency here for Parabellum, especially with the fact that, again, there's only a Jaeger being played who, fun fact, still has an ADS in pocket despite being on the top floor. And speaking of getting aggressive, here's Achieved. All the way up tower stairs, challenging, making sure that no drones are able to get past him. 3 have already been shot. Parabellum down 3 drones in 40 seconds thus far. Achieved, I guess we'll figure that he's done his job. He'll fall back down the stairs. He's also got a signal jammer in pocket, curiously enough. But Parabellum have all kind of spawned and are now around the tower side. Curious that they're not doing a top-down clear despite quite a heavy roam presence from TSM.
Right, a lot of this attack is just focused on this north side, right? This back tower side. You can see Kool-Aid is setting up potentially a flank cam or looking to get a bit more intel about what they're dealing here in meeting. That's going to be Bolo. They'll spot him out, and they'll look to take him out. You can see the Z-pings on his position. Kool-Aid with a pre-fire, but no, it is Bolo to win that gunfight instead. That's something that Kool-Aid should have definitely won. Penguin also did not know that Achieved was going to swing on him so close with that shotgun, and because of that, TSM, they will go up 2 picks within these first flurry of engagements. Yeah, there's only 90 seconds left. I mean, that is still ample time for Parabellum here, but now they've lost both of their hard breachers. They've lost a core part of this roster, and Achieved here is on the hunt for more. That is a bold move, and Melted did not see it coming. Achieved wants another, and actually, it'll be him who gets one with the SMG. Eska lines 1 up, now 2, getting a double kill for himself, but now it's a 1v3.
Yeah, beautiful stuff from Achieved. I mean, obviously believing in the shotgun there to get 2 1-pumps that I didn't actually expect. Well, the second one I'm a lot more lenient, but the first one I definitely didn't expect to be a 1-pump at that range. But Eska's now in a 1v3. You know, he's lined up 2, but he'll have to ace if he wants to win this round. And TSM, they've peeled back. Now, luckily for him, Chala is out of gas canisters, so there's nothing to stop him walking through doorways other than the enemy's guns. He'll open up that single wall, actually make his way towards E-Box. He's holding the pixel by the bomb chassis, but no one's peeking him. TSM doing a very job of playing the time, and just as Eska rounds the corner, he'll get swung by the Jaeger of Merc. And there we go. TSM 8 rounds in a row since we've started Bank. PB started off with a very minimal take. I mean, that's something we know about PB is they love their minimal takes, even if there's a roam. You know, they'll do everything they can to not fully clear top down sometimes, and it really punished them. Kool-Aid lost his fight in meeting, and Achieve was allowed 2 kills up tower stairs.
I mean, PB, they really need to figure out a way to win a round here or there, right? And, of course, it'll be important for their scoreline, important for their chances on Oregon, but to enter into a series of this caliber and yet to have the feeling of what it's like to win a round against TSM, I mean, it may sound trivial, but at some point, that's got to have some kind of impact. You know, maybe this, timeout, because we do have that sound bug, could be that opportunity for Parabellum to talk things over. But you saw in that last round, Harrison, how pretty standard things that Parabellum would normally do pretty well, right, kind of fell by the wayside. It was mainly the kill or the lack thereof onto Bolo that caught my attention because they knew exactly where he was. Kool-Aid had every advantage in that gunfight, and Bolo was still able to win it. I'm not saying that Bolo isn't a crazy gunner. Of course he is, and he's going to have the awareness as well, but Kool-Aid was right there. He had the pings. He had the crosshair placement. He just didn't have, maybe the reaction time. Those small things, start to add up, and maybe they're going to get worse unless we can see Parabellum win a round.
And something about PB2 is the solo plays in that round, right? Like Penguin tried to push down tower stairs alone. I don't remember if he had a drone in front of him, but if he did, it wasn't enough. Clearly, I mean, a lot of what teams will try to do to clear out someone playing in Harry Potter is by taking control of everything else except Harry Potter, dropping E-Box and killing him. Usually the Hibana will open up the E-Box wall, and expose both the barrels door and the Harry Potter position to flush that out. Even, utility will be dedicated, flashes, nades, what have you. And instead, Parabellum just had dry peaks. And because of that, Achieved got 2 1-pumps. So Parabellum maybe not playing as together as we would have liked them to like to see them as well on that first round. And TSM are going to go to dorms, bringing a lot more shields than they had in the previous round. They've got that Goyo in play. I believe I still saw, still the castle, so still plenty of utility here now. Maybe leaning a little bit more into that utility, but still just settling on the Jaeger as utility denial. And Parabellum, once again, are bringing more than enough nades to deal with it. They'll have to be a little bit more precise when it comes to clearing those shields just because there's more of them. But again, there's not a lot to stop them.
Yeah, wow, I didn't even notice how many nades we saw from them in the previous round. 8 grenades coming out from Parabellum. Of course, that is a lot of explosive potential here that TSM will have to contend with. But of course, with all those deployable shields in play, several from Bolo and Chala bringing that one on the smoke, that, Parabellum are going to have to expend those, likely clearing out a good bit of that utility. The castle barricades as well. Sometimes you're not in a position for Eska to get that breaching hammer in place, so they've got to expend some frag grenades in dealing with that position. For now, though, Parabellum, they've just got to get some kills and get some confidence back. They'll start things off, approaching this, opening up, this double window by dorms, maybe trying to apply some pressure there, but likely we're going to see them go for their pretty standard approach. I would imagine both the master side and the attic side will face a good bit of pressure early on. We might see them, work their way in from below where TSM have set up a bit of an extension, but Parabellum will have to make that choice once they see that setup. Do they want to, go into that, head on, or do they want to work their way around it?
PB for now seem like they just want to go for the standard master push. Already we hear a Gon 6 go out, probably dealing with a castle barricade on a window. Can't quite see where that is just yet. Of course, TSM's downstairs players are really only being spotted out by drones right now. No manpower being allocated there. Penguin will finally fell the castle barricade on the master doorway, prompting Geo to fall back just a little bit and hold a slightly longer angle. Penguin will burn even more of his X-Cairo. So now he's got less dedicated to the main wall, and that angle from Geo allows him to shoot off those X-Kairos, wasting away Penguin's utility. This Hibana is going to need help if he wants to get in through Master. He's just going to take the fight against Merc finally. Someone will come in to join him. He'll try and blow up the castle barricade once again, and of course those are going to get shot immediately, but in the meantime, Spirits gets the first pick on none other than the smoke. So concerning utility, sure, Parabellum have lost a decent amount of hard breach, but at least they trade back the smoke.
Yeah, that's a fantastic kill to get early on, but here comes Bolo looking for some kills of his own. He'll take one down, Eska with him, but Kool-Aid, of course, will get that trade. Still Parabellum in the advantage, but you can see Parabellum still having a hard time working their way in Master. Clutch shot there from Kool-Aid, taking out that Nitro Cell that Achieved sent flying their way. 2 players in the line of sight there, but they'll survive at least that engagement, but then they'll have to worry about these players up above. Geo will swing on the white stairs and silence Penguin for good, returning us to an even 3v3. Parabellum, despite there being 40 seconds in the round, they do look like they want to get going. The nade towards Geo will miss, and now he knows there is more to worry about on the white stairs. Kool-Aid swings in, getting himself a double kill. Not looking left, so he'll get punished from Merc. In this 2v2 now, Merc knows the diffuser has been dropped in the middle of this site, but Spirits just walks in and downs him. Achieved last alive on low HP, and Spirits is there to finish it off. Parabellum, they've got their first round.
A 3K, I believe, there from Zachary Spirits, and while the initial attempt at clearing Master definitely not going Parabellum's way, I like the adjustment. They had already started off with the downstairs clear, from dining side, working their way into the hallway, making sure that kitchen and security were unplayable. And by the time that Penguin had rotated back, Parabellum had already gotten the necessary kills. Spirits had one with the nade. Bolo sure got one pick, but was immediately traded off. And Parabellum, all they had to do was storm up white and big window because TSM had so much allocated towards Master that the manpower they had left at the end of the round was just not enough to do it. Especially with the white push that Parabellum had going on. Again, Kool-Aid trading out Penguin. Spirits taking Kool-Aid's death as an opportunity to jump in the window. A good forward play from him, especially, winning the round there because the Jaeger was allowed, time to recollect himself after killing Kool-Aid. That jump in from Spirits maybe doesn't happen, but Merc, being forced to play passive there in that scenario, working in Parabellum's favor. Now we're tied up 1-1. Parabellum, after 8 rounds, have finally taken their first point. Congratulations. As now we go on to meeting the tertiary site for TSM.
Parabellum, though, they are rocking with the same attacker lineup that we've seen from them now 2 rounds in a row. Seems like it's something that is going to be pretty consistent from them, given that the Ying is in play. They don't have that option to throw in some variance, throw in some variety. And, they do occasionally, when they're feeling creative, they'll bring out a blitz here and there. But as you said, earlier during those operator bans, Harrison, that blitz is something that we see a lot less than we might the Ying. On the side of TSM, this is also their pretty consistent lineup. The shield play is going to be a pretty big focus. Chala has switched off that smoke, though, and giving that role to Merc instead. Of course, Chala was first picked last time. Those smokes didn't have the ability to use them when it came to that Parabellum execute, so Merc will definitely be looking to stay alive a little bit longer to keep those smokes in pocket for the late round.
Eska appears to be on a solo clear towards the small tower side of things. I don't know if he's got anyone at his back, but for now, it appears as if he's just droning himself in. Looks like Spirits is there at the white window for a cutoff in case anyone tries to ascend the staircase. That'll be Chala, I guess, the first player in line for that. Nade goes out. All it really succeeds in doing is killing the signal jammer at the doorway, and Bolo finds the leadoff kill onto Penguin, the Hibana. If he hadn't already used his hard breach, especially if PB were planning for a stage plant, or opening attic, or really opening any of these hard walls that are oh so important to this defense, that hard breach is going to be sorely missed.
Well, the diffuser is also going to be sorely missed, is it not? That looks like TSM should have pretty clear vision of that.
He just walked in?
Yeah, he walked in with diffuser in his hands. Bolo has it. And
Okay.
now Parabellum have a big problem ahead of them. Yeah, they have a ton of nades, which they're now expending, but they haven't dealt with Chala below. They've got to find a way to recover this diffuser, and Melted doesn't know what he's about to walk into. He'll swing the door. Now Bolo is going to challenge him, likely to call from some support from below. You've got Achieve there on that angle. C4 comes out. It won't connect, but now Bolo will reposition, hoping to just, take Melted through the blender here, and it's going to work. Melted now at 1 HP. Kool-Aid and Spirits, where are they to support their teammate? Only now are they coming back to the site, but Bolo will finish off Melted. There goes Kool-Aid. Spirits is last alive in a 1v5, and it seems that the Parabellum blunder, it all occurred in the first few seconds of this round. Penguin making an odd decision there. Now Spirits doesn't have a lot to work with, doesn't have a lot of hope in TSM. They're just going to play this one passive. They know where he is now, and, well, Merc will deal the final blow.
Okay. What was that from PB? Quite the odd attack. I mean, we know that Penguin is a very aggressive player. I remember back at last Six Invitational, he was the player with the most entry engagements on his team, despite his mains being, I think, like Maverick and Smoke. So, I mean, we know he'll go for those plays if he sees the opportunity, but it looked like that was maybe foolhardy. I mean, there was a shield staring him in the face, and he drops Diffuser in the attic doorway. That's significant. I mean, sure, losing your hard breach is already bad enough, but if PB still had the case, you know, maybe they could put some sort of rotation together, but dropping that case means all of PB now have to shift their focus to one thing, and that's recovering that Diffuser. They were unable to do so. I mean, second of all, there's a reason why all those top floor takes start from master side. I mean, you can't jump through big window without clearing security. Chala just demonstrated that by one pumping. I think that was Eska attempting to jump through. Melted didn't even try clearing the shield, even though there's only a Jaeger on the board. He could have probably burned away all of that utility himself if he still had both nades, or even just a nade and a Gone 6 up. And that entire round was super messy from PB. I mean, well done to TSM. Once that case was dropped, and for Bolo to just stand there stalwart and find his picks. But, I mean, it's really on PB for making some pretty odd decisions. But, I mean, I talked about it before with that Ying ban, right? I talked about it before. Ying is banned, and PB are attacking basement. They want elbow fast.
Blitz,
so
baby.
Spirit onto Blitz.
Let's go. Excited to see this in play. Every time Parabellum brings something like this out, you know, it always catches my eye. But when it comes down to the execution, that's where things get a little bit more wishy-washy, right? When you bring a Blitz into basement, usually through bunker, you've got to deal with, you know, the big problem that all shield players face, right? And that is a crossfire. Because when you're walking into that bunker door, there are two positions, maybe three really, that can stare at you. If the E-box wall is open, somebody in E-box can look at you. Somebody can look at you from elbow, and somebody can just look at you from the doorway. So Parabellum, before they can get him in safely, they have got to deal with two of three positions. They've got to get that player off the door or get the player out of elbow. Typically, Spirit's job is going to be clearing out elbow. So they're going to have to figure out if that doorway is clear and if they can push in safely. Chala, of course, will be that primary, you know, contender, and he's going to stare right into the flash, but he gets the kill anyway? Spirits and Penguin both go down. I have no idea how the Blitz just died. Achieved eventually falls, but a bunker push saved by Chala killing Spirits fully blinded.
That is incredible from Chala. I mean, hitting either the hip fire or just the blind shot will take out the main pushing force in that elbow take, and he survives. Now, good job to Kool-Aid to find a refrag and even up the man count, but Chala's still going to be a big problem. PB, a lot of times, will put all their eggs in that Blitz basket, and now he's gone. Now, luckily for them, Chala will send his last smoke canister out, but Kool-Aid takes some damage crossing in front of the main wall and is downed?
He needed himself.
I'm not quite sure. I guess, yeah, I would have to assume that was a self-nade. At least he'll get rezzed by the Finka. You know, Finka still being on the board. I'm sure Kool-Aid is feeling blessed for that one. But Merc dumpsters one, trying to move through the single wall. There's another kill for TSM, and now it's Melted alone, searching for the pick and elbow. But it's not there anymore. Chala's already backed off. He'll get a nice wall bang through the soft wall because elbow's left soft. I guess there's reinforcements, you know, being allocated towards that roam instead. And is now stuck in the 1v2. Merc holding to his left, Bolo just to his right, and he'll get lit up as he tries to cross through, and Merc will easily finish him off once the call comes through that Melted is stuck in box. Well played by TSM, and bit of a misplay there from PB. Well done to Chala too. I mean, at that point, all you can really do is pull the trigger and pray. But there is a reason why sometimes players will flash someone as blitz and then like wait a sec. Because a lot of times, right, when someone gets flashed, their first instinct is to start shooting or start meleeing. If you're a blitz and you flash someone and instantly go for the melee while they're dumping your mag, you're probably going to get headshotted. So unfortunately, Spirits did not opt for that strategy. And Chala shut him down, held on to elbow, and none of the PB players could force themselves through single wall.
I mean, that very well may have won the entire round. I mean, Achieved also providing some good coverage, but by some miracle, Chala able, to win that gunfight. And from there, I mean, everything Parabellum had worked towards, or their plan at least in that round. I mean, they had to throw it out the window and hope to recover it. The play we saw, outside of E-Box, Kool-Aid getting down. There were a lot of nades being thrown in, from everybody on the side of Parabellum. That's why I was leaning towards maybe he got a little bit of team damage, but really it was the sound cue that had me a little bit confused. I noticed that Bolo had 2 impacts in pocket, used one of them. By that time, it could have been an impact grenade from the Malusi to down Kool-Aid.
Maybe through the E-Box hatch?
Could have been, right? It was hard to tell in that moment, and I think, likely Parabellum were equally as confused because we saw how, I mean, that began a mad scramble all over the basement, trying to recover the round, trying to figure out, where those final few TSM defenders were positioned, and they just could not pin them down. And so Parabellum are yet again unsuccessful in their attacks. Basement, apparently not it for them. They'll have another chance at Dorms, though, a site that they were able to secure successfully last time. Technically, it's TSM now who have to make some kind of adjustments, but last time, I guess the strongest part of that hold was their master presence, and that's something they're going to make sure to maintain. They've got the castle, and they've got these roamers to support that.
Wow, Spirits just got run out on by Bolo all the way by Small Tower, and Bolo actually does a decent chunk of damage with that Vector considering the range. Unfortunate for TSM that he wasn't able to land the headshot, but still, damage done to Spirits. And I imagine the setup is likely the same over towards Master for TSM because Parabellum are ignoring that side of the map thus far, mainly going for Attic and then likely setting up for some sort of bottom white play. Here comes Kool-Aid in with that blowtorch. He'll likely make short work of that wall. Bolo still downstairs along with Achieve. Now, Achieve doesn't have a C4 to his name, but Bolo still does, and that's something PB are going to have to worry about. But even though he doesn't have the explosive, Achieve is still able to go to work with his gun, and Frags melted out for the first pick.
Once again, Parabellum suffering in these opening duels, and it doesn't seem that things are going to get any easier for them, right? I mean, they still have so much of this map control to secure. They are working this two-pronged approach like last time, and, one positive is they've got easier access into Master. They don't have, I believe it was Geo last time, just shooting out those X-Kairos pellets every time Penguin tried to open that closet door. Now Penguin has the game's wall open. That's more progress than he was able to make by this stage in the round last time, but those other 2 attackers working their way in from Attic are slightly delayed here by the toxic gas. Merc will attempt to swing, but he'll back on off now that he realizes there are several attackers there to push him, but he will still hold this angle, not trying to give up control of Pit just yet, and that's going to work again for him. Merc claims Eska's life. Bolo does go down to Penguin, but Spirits is taken down quickly on the refrag. It's now Parabellum in a 1 versus 3, and that is not going to last much longer. Chala with the fatal blow. It is TSM up 4-1.
Yeah, I had called initially in that round that, PB were likely not going for the same pinch because of all that utility dedicated to that side. I stood corrected. They ended up getting that breach open, but again, at what cost? Melted died first to Achieved, still roaming below. Maybe not enough intel there for PB to accurately make a play on that roam clear. Later in the round, once PB get Attic open, no one's able to push through Dip because of the close angle being held by Merc and the shield far back in Kids. That is a bit of a stumper. A lot of attacking teams struggle to deal with that kind of hold in that area. And no one from PB was able to make anything happen towards the breach either because, again, they don't have that Attic crossfire. Well done to TSM to continue holding on. And now PB, same situation as Bank, only slightly less so. They really need this next round.
Yeah.
I know we said it on Bank a lot, and we're going to say it here again on Oregon. Going down 4-2, or rather going down 2-4 on your attacking side of Oregon is average. I mean, it's not great. It's not bad. It's normal. It's kind of what we expect. But if they go down 5-1, then that sucks. Now, PB are going to take, a minute to reevaluate. They're going to drop the Iana, bring Melted. So a little bit more burn at their hands, a little bit easier clear of those shields and any other indestructible utility as well.
We're here on meeting again, of course, and Parabellum, an unsuccessful attack here last time, has encouraged one small change. They are going to bring out the Flores this time, an operator that I mentioned right after the conclusion of our ban phase. Those Rotero drones can be incredibly potent in the right hands. Just comes down to how well Melted is able to utilize them. Of course, we've seen Melted on the Yana every single round until now, so we'll have to see how he can shift into this role, if this is something that he ends up, doing pretty good work on, focusing those drones and focusing on that utility play rather than simply the frags. Parabellum, though, right now, it's not just one player alone. It is all 5 of them working their way in from this tower side. It's something we saw from them in that first round and something they're going to be bringing out here again. And this time, I mean, it's not going to get any easier. Geo picks up the first kill. That's on to Kool-Aid. One of your hard breachers is gone. You still have Penguin, and that is going to be Parabellum's really only saving grace at this point. But these entry duels, man, they are not going Parabellum's way.
I mean, luckily, it's just a Mute left who's not too difficult to clear out on this map, but still, yeah, losing Kool-Aid that early, not only one of your primary hard breachers, but also a set of nades, and now you've lost effectively 2 sets of nades because your Maverick is dead, and you drop the Iana for Flores. Now, the good thing about this current PB attack is when you open Attic, you don't necessarily need to force everyone back, you just need to make sure that those defenders can't peek the hatch, so you just have to hold them. And it seems like that's what PB are trying to do. Unfortunately, though, not taking Attic means Chala can hold in the middle of meeting. Well, yes, it is exposed. It's a lot worse if that hatch is under the control of the attack. And Bolo's shield is going to make sure that the attack can't do that, although here comes the utility. Flashes come through. Penguin going to be intimidated a little bit by those shots, but the nade will eventually clear the shield. Now, Bolo isn't safe to just continue to peek that hole, but it still doesn't mean PB are safe to start moving through Attic. Penguin is going to be the first to challenge, but he's got to worry about the Bolo swing. Strangely, though, the Goyo loses that fight despite getting a lot of good damage down on that Hibana. Luckily, though, for TSM, there's another player upstairs ready and waiting to retake that Goyo's position and make sure PB peeking that hatch is a dangerous proposition.
Well, Merc is not going to stop. He's tucked on the bomb chassis, and he is still holding this hatch from above. Penguin will take care of Geo, and now Merc's in a very tough spot. He's got to get out of there, so he'll make a quick escape down towards the basement. He'll be lit up in the process, as will Penguin. Here comes Achieve, taking down Spirits, but not before Spirits claims one of his own. Merc gets one back, that one onto Melted, but Diffuser goes down, and Achieved is finished off. Parabellum looking good to take another round as long as they can finish off Merc, and that they will do. Eska with the final blow, and Parabellum get on the board again in probably their most important round of the day so far, and they come through on top. It'll be that 4-2 half in favor of TSM at the switch.
And in that previous round, again, the reason why I thought PB weren't going to push their Attic is because they, again, they're a big fan of minimal takes, but I'm glad that they didn't. They really forced themselves into Attic, Bolo losing his gunfight, and then Penguin following it up with another, ensuring the top floor was in PB's control. That makes Merc's position completely unplayable. You saw him be forced to fall back down to the basement, leaving site a little bit exposed. PB, sure, they lose a couple men, but they storm in. Spirits trades out Chala as he attempts to cover the stage breach. And PB get that plant down. From there, I mean, Eska has the top floor coverage enough to win out the round and make sure that no retake can happen. Parabellum take that 2-4 half. I'm sure they're glad about not being down 5-1 or even 6-0 like we saw on Bank, and they'll swap to their defense. Curious operator lineup here. No drone denial whatsoever, despite having the castle. Instead, it's both the Jaeger and the Wamai to ensure maybe Elbow is a little bit harder to take, although Spirits, strangely enough, is roaming, and you've got the Penguin alibi. Shield, sure, all well and good utility. He'll be on that roam, though he doesn't have a lot of utility supporting that roam in and of itself. I mean, I guess if you're gonna want an extra shield, then who better than that alibi? But still playing like this, with the castle, with that heavy roam, with no drone denial, I feel is going to be punishing with how good TSM's drone game was on Bank.
It's a little bit surprising, though, to see Penguin on the alibi, no? I mean, usually you expect that to be, the MX4 Storm, usually you expect that to be in the hands of more of a fragger, I guess, and Penguin has generally been sticking to more of a support. I mean, he was playing hard breach all of that attacking half. I guess we'll have to see how he shapes up here on defense. He maybe will be hunting for these frags on the alibi, but TSM, they are not dilly-dallying at all here. They are clearing out this map, and they're doing so as fast as they can, assisted by Bolo and that Finka. Those boosts allow them to move into gunfights with a lot more confidence. They can, take a couple of more uncertain angles if they would choose to do so. But there's very little that's going to be left uncertain for TSM. Their drone work has been really strong on this top 2 floors, and so the last player that they have to deal with who is even mildly extended from the bomb site is Penguin, the alibi that we already talked about. Every other Parabellum defender is downstairs on the site, waiting for TSM to come to them. And considering we are working our way past that 90-second mark now, TSM are likely about to make a move.
Yeah, we'll see Geo start to pop open those hatches. I believe that's the laundry hatch that was just opened. Although he only used 2 charges on that, interestingly enough. Maybe the Maverick had already opened a little bit for him. He'll open the castle barricade, protecting laundry as well, giving TSM that avenue into laundry that they also desire for that likely plant spot that I imagine is going to come from there, considering Geo is the one holding diffuser, unless, he rotates somewhere else in the round. There's still plenty of time for him to do that. Eska looks like to be the lone person holding inside of Freezer itself. The Lamai's got the crossfire, but no shots land on Bolo just yet. He will continue to hold this angle, ensure that no one from Parabellum is allowed to play in Cubby. Merc taking the first bit of engagement, or looking for the first engagement over towards Gold Hall, but at 45 seconds, that's when the first gas canister comes out from Kool-Aid. Now, if you chain the smokes together, they can burn effectively 30 or so seconds, so there'll still be enough time for TSM to make a 15-second execute once those all are done and dusted. But see, they've rotated over towards E-Box, and in comes Merc, somehow able to get that kill on Melta before Spirits trades, but he will shut down Bolo and Freezer. Man advantage in the favor of PB by 1, and TSM just cannot force themselves through E-Box just yet. But with that kill from Achieve, that seems to be the opening they need. In his Chala, he lands the kill on the shoulder of Eska, and Kool-Aid has no more gas. And now he's the last player alive, and he can't deny the plant. It looked like he downed the player, but is immediately traded off, and there was enough time in the round to where that just does not matter. Laundry attack goes the way of TSM.
Yeah, the flurry of engagement is there in those last few seconds. Initially, it looked like Parabellum had, the trades going in their favor, but then TSM kind of bring it back, and they storm ahead to take that round win. The one thing I did like from Parabellum, of course, not winning that round, was the mid-round adjustment we saw them make on the site. They had the site set up in a particular way, but then once they started to get a bit of a better idea of where TSM were approaching from, I think it was Melted on the Wamai, who was, meleeing open that castle barricade, working with a little bit of soft destruction on the site, doing a little bit of a remodel, just to make sure that they had some kind of setup, pointing towards TSM where they were trying to make that entry, maybe opening up another rotate for his team to move around the site. Of course, that wasn't enough to give them the control they needed in the end. It was TSM, it was Achieved, and Chala, especially in those final few gunfights, who ended up taking the win there. A shame for Parabellum that, whatever basement hold they tried to orchestrate with that castle couldn't quite work. I wish we did see a little bit more of a roam setup, right? You did, Harrison, hint at that, earlier with Penguin on that alibi. You expect there to be a slight bit more of that extension, but we saw how quickly TSM moved throughout the map with very little resistance. So when it came to the actual push on the site, they had so many avenues at their disposal simply because they had taken so much map control at that point. They knew that they were safe in all of their flanks. They could approach from whether that was Laundry or Freezer or working their way down the back tower side. Parabellum had to control for so many different contingencies, and they just could not do it all at once. TSM take the round, and that puts them up 5-2.
Yeah, I mean, even during the site push, despite most of TSM, after the kill on Finka, really all of TSM coming from the same direction, PB were still unable to get the kills, and it seems to be a common theme throughout these first 2 maps, both on Bank and now here, right? The closest person we have to positive is Spirits. and he's only even. Everyone else on Parabellum trails by at least -2. We'll see if they can start to turn their luck around on this defense. They've got a Frost now in play for Penguin. Quite an odd operator to see on Oregon of all maps. Usually, she's a mainstay on places like Clubhouse Gym defenses, Chalet as a whole, but Penguin will pick her up here. And in the meantime, Eska will fall first to Bolo, who has been really on top of the entries so far in this series.
It's not only been Bolo, I mean, it has been everyone on the side of TSM outclassing Parabellum just in those opening engagements. You can see that Spirits wants something back, taking that fight with Bolo down the Showers corridor, but eventually deciding, you know what, it's better to back off and play for the on-site push a bit later. But TSM, I mean, they're gearing up for that very push. They've got Shala working his way over with this Breaching Torch on the attic side to get that approach open. And you've got Bolo, who's still working his way down below, maybe considering a bit of a White Stairs push a little bit later in the round. Again, this is that stage in the round where TSM, they're just opening up every single avenue they can at their disposal. And while they're doing that, they are collecting frags to boot. There is Merc picking up another kill, and that one's going to be onto Penguin.
Now a 2-man deficit for Parabellum leading to the last 45 seconds. TSM still a decent amount of time to set up for their execute. Achieve just watching this hatch, ensuring that no one from PB can rotate downwards, or if someone's ignorant to the angle, he can get an easy kill. No one from Parabellum moving. It looks like they're all kind of static in their anchor locations. And again, there's no drone denial. So if TSM have info on these players as we see some scans and pings come out, then these Parabellum members might be surely dead. Kool-Aid will land a nice shot, but it's traded, in fact. He and Shala exchange headshots, leaving Spirits and Melted in a 2 versus 4. Make it a 2v3. Make it a 2v2. Geo, of course, cannot get picked up by the Finka boost because he's in a Frost trap. But Spirits, he looks the wrong way from the Finka. Melted catch is achieved, and there's nothing that TSM can do trying to climb up White. It looked like it was going to be the round in their favor, but the one Frost mat under big window stopping the planter clinches the round for PB.
I love it when it comes down to the little things, Harrison, and that is another example of just one little bear trap placed under the window, changing the course of the round. Had Geo been able to step in through big window, the crossfire would have been established on dorms. And instead of just funneling through that White Stairs doorway, TSM would have had dorms control, and they would have been able to plant, most likely, in dorms as well. With someone covering on White Stairs, maybe you have the other one push in and try to support the planter more directly, but there's very little Parabellum can do at that point to stop it. But when Geo goes down on that window, instead, I mean, the onus completely flips to TSM. Now they're the ones who have to make some sort of mid-round, late-round comeback happen, and they just couldn't do it. It happens when you're funneling through a single position. If the defense know exactly where you're coming from, I mean, Parabellum, they are going to stop that every single time. Good to see them heating up a little bit. Parabellum finally getting some kills there in those closing moments, and, of course, the Frostmat proving as effective as ever. So still Parabellum down 2 rounds here, but TSM slipping up a little bit towards the end of round 8. They'll be looking forward to round 9 to extend their lead.
I mean, this is the closest PB have been so far with TSM. Of course, because Bank was a 7-0. So good to see PB actually getting rounds in this map, but we'll see if they can hold on to this roam. They're bringing a lot more drone denial, which I do like. Now instead of that Alibi and the Wamai roaming, they have the Mute and the Mozzie joining this castle. So perhaps putting a little bit of a hamper on TSM's drone progress, which has been, again, very good, both in Oregon and the entire attacking half for Bank. And they're currently attempting to find the picks in security. Of course, when it comes down to this roam, a lot of times these middle floor players are easier to take out before the top floor, but they're actually just skating right by Kool-Aid. Now, he's got a hole in the floor to delay Bolo's progress, but he just walks right through the gas and will place himself top White. Now, Prone catches Penguin off guard, but no, the Mute is ready for the fight. Domes Bolo. He takes quite the beating, but still Finka off the board early. I'm sure Parabellum will be thankful for.
Yeah, Parabellum finally winning one of these early picks. I mean, they won the last round, but they certainly didn't look super pretty while they did it. But this one, they will emerge to an early lead. Penguin, though, of course, lit up, and oh, Spirits, what a shot onto Merc, whipping around. I mean, Merc, can't have any idea that was coming. Achieved had no idea where Spirits was. That's a double kill for the castle, just walking upstairs and getting the job done. Kool-Aid furthers the advantage by taking down Geo. It is Chala last alive, and Spirits finishes it off. Parabellum storm out of nowhere to take a flawless round.
Well, what can we say other than Parabellum won every fight they took? TSM, they kind of skirted around the security players to try and push up white and clear the roam. Bolo goes through the gas, but what that means is that sure, Bolo may be in an unexpected position, but he's separated from the rest of his team. And when he stands up, that's a pretty loud sound cue. A lot of people, now I'm sure, these are pros, they don't, but a lot of people underestimate the amount of sound going prone and standing back up makes. So I'm sure Penguin heard that, and that's why he was already alerted to the position of Bolo. Got that kill. Spirits able to find 2 upstairs. I mean, that first shot of the guy trophy was disgusting. And he just kind of whipped around while playing Ring Around the Rosie with the other clearer. And at that point, TSM tried to scramble to find something, and were stumped by a shotgun. So, well done to Parabellum on that roam. That is the best they have looked all series long. And it comes on round 9 on map 2. So, while Parabellum did look really good, I think the question here is whether or not it's too little too late, because, of course, TSM are still in the lead.
Just by 1 round, though, and Parabellum have, worked this disadvantage back towards almost even. I'm trying to think, though, Harrison, did we see any flawless rounds from TSM on Bank?
Yes.
We did, okay. Because I was going to say, that could have been the first flawless round of the series, and it would have been quite a statement for Parabellum to make that, but if, like you say, TSM did take 1, then that is not the case for Parabellum. But certainly a confidence booster nonetheless. They should be, poised to take another round here after feeling a flawless round against TSM. I mean, heck, that is certainly a way to make a statement. But they're going to have to do more than that. It's 5-4, and they still need 1 more round to bridge this gap. TSM, they're a little bit more wary of entering the building. You can see that maybe Bolo is a little bit more timid this time, understandably so, because last time he did get fried up above by a player who he thought he was hunting down, but rather it turned out it was the other way around.
Eska roaming downstairs is curiously being aided by one of those yokais. Something we see about those Echo drones is they're not always stationed static on site. Sometimes the defenders are droning out the attack, and sometimes, if that actually works out, it's very entertaining to watch. Now, unfortunately for Eska, there's someone outside the main door that he did not spot, so he won't see a kill from that roamer just yet. But TSM have the main breach open pretty early on in the round as well. I mean, 1:40 left. Merc is in sight behind the foosball table. I thought that was a clone for a sec, but no, it's really the Iana. Nade goes out, does not clear the shield, but Merc is looking like he wants to get aggressive. In fact, it's achieved to get the first kill onto the smoke of Kool-Aid. So much delay power now off the board for Parabellum. Penguin as well might be stuck here in attic as the nade comes through. Shield will be cleared, and Penguin now has nothing to play behind. Eska looking like he wants to take up white, but Spirits dies. If he's gonna make a move, he's gotta do so now as Penguin dies. All the side players falling, and Eska can't win his fight downstairs. It's just melted on the Echo in a 1 versus 5. Now, he's the only man in sight. He's got Echo drones. He's able to get 1 kill, but with the amount of time TSM have, I don't really know if those yokais are going to come too much into play. TSM can take their time, ensure that Melted isn't gifted 1v1s, and as the plant goes down and the Echo takes a lot of damage, well, the round just looked a whole lot worse now. TSM looking like they're about to take map and match point unless Melted can kill all 4 players in a matter of 30 seconds without taking more than 1 shot to the chest. Next player on the dock looks to be achieved to take this gunfight, but Melted turns his back, and that's an easy cleanup. TSM, map, and match point.
Yeah, we saw a flurry of engagements. Most of those engagements, in fact, go down on that top floor. I, like you, Harrison, thought that, maybe that's where the bomb site is for a second here, because Parabellum put so much focus into holding that extension. Just so much focus, to the point where it got a little bit detrimental to their overall site hold. Often, right, that's a tough decision we have to see defensive teams make. When you go for any kind of vertical extension, do you commit to it to the point where you allow yourselves to die up there, or do you try to fall back and risk giving up that control? Hard balance to find, and Parabellum just found themselves on the losing end of that debacle, where they just put too much focus on the top floor, and TSM, they cleaned that up in a jiffy, sending Parabellum into kind of this spiraling downhill turn where they just had to find something back, and they simply couldn't even get a single kill, leaving Melted alive, and he really couldn't do much at all. Not over yet, though. It is match point, but it is 6-4. I guess it is series point as well, because TSM took that first map. So they'll be looking to clean up here, take care of Parabellum, and send them down to that loser's bracket. But if Parabellum have anything to say about that, they're headed back up to dorms. They won this site last time. They'll be hanging on for a little bit longer.
All right, that's the good thing about SI Quals as well, is that it's not single elim, it's double. So if Parabellum lose here, they will get another chance. And if they make the comeback, you know, TSM won't be eliminated either. Now, my main concern about this bomb site is that it did take, you know, a Herculean effort by a single Frostmat to end up clutching the round. Not quite sure if the ending goes as smoothly for PB if, you know, Geo either shoots that Frostmat or if the Frostmat is not there to begin with. But TSM will likely be ready for it as they continue to clear in downstairs. Horizontal up first for Bolo. Not a lot of heat downstairs. I think there's only 2 players from the defense and not really a lot of utility dedicated to their position. And interestingly enough, for the first time in this map, we see a Nomad from Merc. Understandable, as Parabellum like to get fluid, and that Nomad's air jabs are going to restrict some of that fluidity quite a bit.
TSM looking to get a move on this second floor, or rather first floor, where they can force out Spirits. And it seems that even though they haven't actually, you know, got eyes on him or necessarily droned him out, Spirits will fall back. There are 2 drones that have been taken off the board. Maybe Spirits, you know, shot a couple of them out before eventually returning to the site. But he's going to seek solace with the rest of his teammates, while I believe only, you know, 1 or 2 TSM defenders actually remain off the site at all. One of those is Eska, who until a moment ago was still lurking downstairs. But other than that, TSM, they've got this map pretty much under control now. It's just about figuring out where they want to work this push in from. Bolo pretty consistently has been working his way towards white stairs, sometimes just walking straight up the stairs and pushing in. This time he might have a little bit more difficulty though, because Eska is lurking nearby.
And I like the adjustment from TSM, or rather rotation, right? Because they see there's so much utility from PB face towards Master. Penguin plays that Master shield quite a bit. It's a strategy that's been in PB's back pocket for a long time. And what's the counter? Well, the counter is completely ignoring it and going for a big window white take. Merc is here holding the cross through kids, ensuring no one can rotate through Attic, and right on cue. Melted tries for that rotate and is cut down. Eska, once again, on the bottom floor, not the bottom floor, but the underneath flank, needs to make something happen as the anchors on site continue to fall. Spirits takes a headshot on Bolo. That's a good recovery, but still, this plant is going down from Geo. Penguin right next to the bomb planter, doesn't know where he is just yet. Finally is able to counter the plant, but still the man advantage remains in the favor of TSM. Spirits is exposed to the big window. Penguin is found through the Attic. Rotate. Merc, sure, he's down, but Spirits is just on 1 point of HP, and Chala can't cover. It's all 1v1, but no! The Jaeger has to hit the reload. Not enough bullets in the mag. Achieved will clean up, and Parabellum gets sent down to the lower bracket. TSM now await the victor of One Shot and Mirage.
7-0, 7-4, a clean win for TSM. Parabellum, they're going to have to work out the kinks. It's not over for them. They could work their way back in through that lower bracket, but it's going to take a good bit more work to do so.